Welcome, everyone. You are about to make your lives a little more fun and a little more interesting because if you are not already following this rock star, Brent, you are going to head over to Instagram and type in BRENTPELLA, and your news feed is about to go down. He is one favorite creators. I watch his videos, I laugh with my friends, and he is just so entertaining. The capacity that he has to not only infuse humor with consistency, niching down, and high quality content is out of this world, you guys. So I am excited to introduce my next guest, Brent, who racked up over 600 million plus views, you guys. He's almost at a billion. Let's get him there. It earned him a spot on MTV's Wild and Out and named a creator to watch by the New York Comedy Festival. When he is in headlining sold out clubs and festivals nationwide, he's hosting the amazing series Good Trip, providing comedy can be both mind bending and mainstream. With 300,000 Instagram followers, he is a viral man. Okay, you guys, he is going viral all the time. He has hacked the algorithm. He knows what he's doing, and he is going to share with us today how to do it. So if you guys want to blow up on social media, you want to get more engagement, we are going to be deep diving today about everything social media that you can apply into your own business to create raving fans, build a massive following so that you can impact the world in a positive way. Welcome to the show, Brent. How are you?
Dude, I feel like we need the air horns from a soccer game right now. That was probably the best intro on a podcast I've ever had. Thank you so much. You make me feel like I'm actually a success in the world. Wow, I feel so good. Thank you. It's good
Yes,
to
well,
see
you
ya.
are. I think that so many people really can get engaged in your content and not really understand how much work and effort and time and consistency that it has taken for you to get here. Because when I first started looking at your content, I'm like, oh, of course he's a viral sensation. He's hilarious. Like, look at his personality. But it's so much deeper than that. There's strategy, there is different things that you've tried that has worked and hasn't worked. So let's jump into it. What do you think is the number one thing that has caused you to go viral that the viewers could adopt into their own brand?
Yeah, I've been doing this for over 10 years. So I think the number one thing is just consistency and not quitting because I've had a lot of low moments. I've had a lot of disappointing experiences. I've had a lot of shortcomings and pitfalls and challenges and things that haven't gone right along the way. And I still, today, literally today, have all of those things happening. I don't think there is ever a time where somebody in the creative field hits like a really cool autopilot streak and just kind of cruises into success. In my opinion, that doesn't exist. There will always be moments of heartbreak. There will always be moments of not believing in yourself or falling into traps of like toxic comparison with others. I still do that. I still do that. I was looking at my numbers yesterday because I hit 300 on Instagram and realized that I'm now past 1 million total followers on all platforms combined, which is really cool. That means the follow button has been pressed 1 million times, right? Um, and that's really dope. But that's still like, I'm so not comfortable with that. And I still feel like there's so much more I could do. There's more I should be doing. And it's for to me the to answer your question, consistency is key, and consistency will get you to where you want to go. Because it's gotten me this far, and I really like where I'm at, but I don't plan on staying here. So I just have to maintain that consistency and that drive while also staying balanced with like a real deep gratitude for where I've gotten so far.
I absolutely love that. And I just echo that. It's that consistency with still the understanding that there is so much more potential inside of
Totally.
us that is just, we're just scratching the surface. And that level of gratitude keeps us pushing. So I love that you embody that. And so, what is the biggest thing or the biggest mindset shift that you had to have to be consistent? Because that is one thing that you're so good at is consistency and niche content. So what is the mindset that somebody would have to keep showing up to the level of consistency that you've mastered?
I think there are multiple answers to that question. So I can answer for myself, and I wouldn't generalize this answer as being applicable to everybody, but I can tell you the mindset that's worked for me personally has been to kind of recognize that as an independent creator, filmmaker, comedian, producer, um, there are high moments of accomplishment, and then there are low moments of not a lot going on, where there'll be weeks that go by and a video doesn't really pop, and I don't have a lot of tour dates, and I'm not really like working on a bigger project. And then there will be weeks where it's like everything all at once, and I got to go on tour, I got to shoot this thing, I got a commercial booked, I got Wild Now is shooting for a week, and so knowing that even during the lows, I'm on my way to an up, uh, that mindset has helped keep me like balanced. Because the biggest thing you have to protect, I think, the biggest thing that I've had to protect is my own peace, my own like mental well-being and spiritual well-being, because I can't let a video that died and crashed get me sad for a week, because then I wouldn't be able to have output anymore. And then I fall off, there's no consistency, and now I'm kind of spiraling and flailing. And um, so that's the mindset that I've maintained, is just knowing even during low moments or lulls or failures or uh, um, times where I don't get the opportunity that I really wanted, whatever it is. Just knowing that that's part of the whole process. And this is like the game we signed up for, because I don't want to work at Cheesecake Factory again. I worked at Cheesecake Factory. I memorized the menu. It's all butter. Everything's made of butter. And I get
Yes.
that. And I don't want to go back to that. But in order to not go back to that, I need to be at peace during low moments, struggle moments, low money moments, and know that those moments aren't forever. They're fleeting because something great is on the horizon.
I love that. You have such a good mindset of how the world works. And so, what do you think is the practical things that you've done to build your social media? Like, if there was like a top one or top two things that you did to build such a massive brand online, what do you think that is?
Uh, it's funny because I don't think of what my following is like massive still. I still am like, ah, man, I'm only at this much. Jeez, I've been doing this for so long, and I've had, so many good things happen. Like, why am I not 10x this much? But it's nice to hear that it looks that way from the outside. But yeah, I think consistency, it just comes back to consistency and a willingness to improve. I think there's a really easy trap to fall into where people will just kind of do the same thing over and over again, and there's no like creative growth there. For some people, it works. My style has always been very different. I've done a lot of different things. I've done impressions, I've done musical comedy, I've done political stuff, I've done like cultural parodies, and now spiritual and alien stuff and music festival stuff. And I've always kind of just followed what I liked. My baseline rule has always been I will only make stuff that I want to watch. So I'm making stuff first and foremost for myself. Um, and then just trusting that people will gravitate toward it, and the people who do gravitate toward it will stick with me. And that's been my kind of creative process, you know. And it's worked because people do gravitate toward it. Clearly, there's at least a couple 100,000 people that aren't bots out there on these sites that are following me. So, yeah, I think first and foremost, just creating what you want to watch, you know,
I
or
love
what you want to
that.
consume. Yeah.
Yes. One of the things that really stood out to me that I think is a very important concept is you tried multiple different things. You tried impressions and politics and all of the things to figure out what was in alignment with what you wanted to create, but also what is viral content. Like your content is so good, and you didn't just wake up one day and start creating all of this content. It was a journey, and that's one of the biggest things I think holds people back when they want to build their presence online. Is like, oh, I tried some talking heads and it didn't take off and my follower count isn't growing. But it's like the thing that I hear from you is you trialed and error and tested the algorithm and looked at the engagement and went to your insights and saw, wow, this post is getting way more engagement. Like before we even started filming this call, is like my favorite content is XYZ. You're like, yep, that's honestly most of the content I create now. Why? Because you're using your platform as a metric, as feedback of what to create more of. So, can you tell us about how could somebody experiment with their creativity to figure out what is viral? Like, how does somebody create viral videos? Like, is there a process or is there something that you've done to create viral videos?
Yeah, I think if your goal is to create viral videos, you're probably going to fail a lot. I think if the goal and the intention is to go viral, you're going to fail. That should not be the goal. That should not be the intention. The goal and the intention should always be to create something worthy of sharing, to create something interesting, to use your unique voice and your unique perspective to make something that has to be in the world. That's what art is to me. It's a creation that has to get out of your brain and manifest in the three-dimensional form. And if your goal is views and likes and shares, you're probably gonna fail because there's no real integrity to that. And this is just my opinion. I've never made content with the goal of getting millions and millions of views. I've made content with the goal of helping people laugh or making fun of a certain topic or getting a character or an idea out of my head because I think it'd be really funny to watch. And of course, I always hope things go viral. I hope it does. But it's never like, oh, I think if I open the video with this line and then do this type of edit and then this in the caption, I think that would make it go viral. Instead, it's like, okay, if I put this in the caption, I think that'll make people laugh as soon as they see it, and then they'll want to watch the video. And the virality and the views and the likes and the comments and the shares, that's all adjacent and like to the goal. But the ultimate goal is like, what is your intentionality behind creating this thing? Is your intention to create and to to put something good into the world, to make people laugh, to help people going through an issue laugh at that issue if that's what the video is about, to comment on a cultural trend or something happening in the news or whatever. But the goal has never really been like virality because I think that just comes inherently when you create content that's true to who you are and that really has like meaning behind it. Even dumbass stupid videos. And I'm talking stupid videos. I dressed up like a microplastic a couple weeks ago
Yes.
and I did a video called Interview with a Microplastic. And I played this character that was a microplastic because I thought, you know, this is a great way to kind of infuse some real um, knowledge through comedy and get people to maybe think twice before drinking from a plastic water bottle, you know, or to kind of expand awareness and expand consciousness toward the issue of microplastics. And I could do it through a really funny video. And then the video got like millions of views, which is great. But the original goal was to get this character out of my head and share this message with folks through comedy. And that's not to say that every piece of comedy or every video has to have some deep meaning. It can be silly and dumb with no deep like lesson or like esoteric mission. Uh, but I think if the goal is like virality and fans and money, that's just not, I don't think that's conducive to creativity. Personally, for me, it's not. Um, and I would always suggest like if your goal is to go viral and blow up, start making stuff that you really believe in and have real intention behind it, and don't get discouraged if you're 6 months in, a year in, 2 years in, and you haven't really popped yet. I've been doing this for over 10 years. So for some people, it takes longer. Some people pop overnight. I have friends that have exploded after like a year or two, and they're still doing great, and that's awesome. But it's different for everybody. Yeah.
I resonate with that so deeply because I think that's one of the reasons why you create such good content because you're truly, truly passionate about the content you create. And it's not just about things that are important to other people, but it's about what's important to you and what
Yeah.
resonates with you. And so when I watch your videos, I can feel that passion. I can see how much effort has gone into those videos. And it's not just about the metrics. It's about this is a platform. And this is the mindset. This is the what I hope is something that really lands on people. Every single opportunity, every single podcast you listen to is an opportunity to have a aha moment or a breakthrough that you can apply into your life to create new results, to create a new paradigm, to create a new identity for yourself. And what really resonated with me is that you have to truly be in love with it. You have to
Yeah.
truly embody this creativity and this content. And if it's just like a struggle for you, the audience will feel that. They'll be able, humans are very intuitive creatures, and so to really have this level of passion towards mastering content is one of the biggest reasons why I think people are not able to get their message out there in a big way. And so I love that you say that. So what do you do to strengthen that? Like if there's somebody that's like, oh, I hate creating content, like it's time consuming, like oh, da, 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 da. How do they move from feeling like social media is a chore to feeling excited about creating content that they are passionate about?
Yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody. So maybe if it feels like a chore, kind of don't do it. It's totally fine to find something else. The entertainment business is insane. Social media is one part of it. I'm also in the TV and film space trying to push a couple of bigger projects forward, and that shit is a nightmare. Um, but we're in a time now where you can be independent and create your own career, and that's exciting. So that hopefully is the first spark that lights the fuse of excitement for being an independent creator. If somebody is really like frustrated, feeling like it's a chore, really not like feeling like they're not turning a corner on their creativity and their output, and they're just not getting to where they want to get to, you know, maybe stop. Maybe stop for a
Do
little while.
YouTube long form content.
I mean, see if you stop for a while and you don't miss it, then maybe like it's not for you, right? Maybe there's something else. Maybe there's a different way to use your unique gifts and talents to make the world a better place. That's not this. And that's okay. That's totally fine. Everybody wants to be a fucking streamer these days. Everybody wants to stream,
Yeah.
which is fine, but that also creates like a certain type of pressure on people who just have like an introductory type interest. But the if somebody's getting like super frustrated, it's back to consistency for me, and it's just continuing to do it until you find your groove, which might take years. And it if my ultimate rule is if the amount of fun is not outweighing the amount of struggle and hassle, then it's not worth doing because we're only here in these bodies one time. You know what I mean? And you should be trying to have more fun than struggle. And it might take a lot of struggle, but as long as the fun is outweighing it, then you should keep going. You know, have you ever had that? Have you ever like struggled with something and then pushed through and found the fun in it and allowed yourself to keep going?
Yeah, for me, I feel like it's knowing what my long-term goals are and then just committing and sticking to it and creating fun within it.
Yeah,
And that's been really powerful for me.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. And so one of my favorite things about your content is the hook. You're
Cool.
so good at the first 5 seconds of your video. Like the first 5 seconds, I'm always like, okay, I gotta watch the rest of it.
Ah, cool.
What do you think is the important things to understand about hooks? Like, how did you get so good at hooks? Or what is like the secret sauce behind hooks? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a cool question. You know, I've never really thought about it before. I think the even the terminology hook is something I don't really use. I think that's because when I finished college, I started doing open mics. I started taking um, improv and sketch comedy classes. I was making videos back then too, but I started off in a bit more of a traditional space rather than like starting on social media. A lot of people today are just launching straight into social media. Like I want to make skits and funny videos, and I want to be like famous video guy, and that's great and totally awesome for a lot of people. For me, I started on stage where you wanted to make the audience laugh within seconds. And that would create a sense of trust between you and the audience instead of taking like a minute or two to get a laugh and the audience is getting uneasy. Like, is this guy good? It's kind of cringy. It's a little embarrassing. It's not comfortable to watch when you're watching a comedy show and there's no laughter. So I used to write sketches at Groundlings, and the goal was always like a laugh almost immediately, whether through a funny
Mm.
face or a behavior or a line of dialogue or an action or whatever. There was always the goal of getting a laugh right away. Same with stand up. Whenever I do stand up, as soon as I get on stage, I'm trying to get at least a chuckle like immediately, as fast as I possibly can, because it creates that level of trust and that builds an immediate relationship with the audience. So it's easier to pull them in and get them on board with whatever you're giving for the rest of the show or the rest of the live sketch. I took that and mapped it into making videos. So what you call a hook, which it is a hook, I always just thought of as like an opening laugh, because I had that philosophy of I want the audience to laugh right away because it builds a sense of trust and they're more likely to stick with me through the rest of the video than if I like take my time getting into the video. If you watch some, if you like Saturday Night Live sketches, usually take like around 30 seconds before you get the first laugh. That's too long for me. That's like
Mm.
way too long. And I'm not talking about, I mean, some of their digital shorts and pre-taped videos are like that, but the live sketches, sometimes it takes like a couple lines of dialogue so that they set up who they are, where they are, whatever. That's like very traditional sketch style stuff. I try to cut that 30 seconds and get straight into the laugh somehow so that I can get people in right away. Um, and you know, of course, SNL and other people, they just have a different way of doing it. And it's all, there's no right or wrong way. It just depends on, you know, your own sensibilities as a creator and how you want to present your work. So I found, yeah, that's how I kind of got into the hook being a magnet for people's attention is how fast can I get a laugh?
I love that. So powerful. And where does your passion for entertaining come from? Like, one of my favorite things about your content is you are such an excellent entertainer. Like, everyone's kind of heard you want to entertain, educate, or inform on social media, and you are so good at entertaining people. What do you think has caused that? And is there any tools and tips that you can share with people where they can maybe focus on being a little bit more entertaining?
Sure. I mean, probably goes all the way back to being a kid, growing up with a single mom and just wanting to be like the clown of the family and always loving making people laugh when I was little. Um, and I don't know. I got into this and I wanted to do it because I saw it as such a great opportunity to just put more joy into the world. That's really like the ultimate thing, and I'm still trying to grow and learn and get better as an entertainer in different ways. I'm about to take a voice acting class and learn a couple new accents. I'm trying to learn and expand. And for people that want to, it's fun to learn. It's fun to kind of crack through these hesitations that we have. My friend Josh Draper coaches a really incredible improv workshop out in Austin, Texas, and I help him out when I can. And we see people cracking open their own shells of insecurity or self-doubt and being silly characters or putting on a silly voice or a silly face or doing activities or actions in a scene that are entertaining beyond what they were previously capable of doing because we're encouraging them to kind of break through that shell. We all have a shell. We all have a limit. We all have this like cocoon of safety that we operate within, whether it's in relationships or business or creativity. And we all also have the ability to expand that shell or crack through it in different ways. And from the moment I started doing improv, knew I wanted to blast through that fucking shell. So
Yes,
really,
yes.
I was the loudest in the improv class. I was the weirdest. They had to like draw me back in because I was doing too much, which is a great problem to have. So for anybody that is looking to kind of expand their ability to entertain, there's nothing more expansive, in my opinion, than live entertainment and taking an improv class or a sketch comedy class where you're performing a lot or doing open mics, doing stand up, and kind of breaking through that shell. It'll make you better in so many other aspects of your life.
Wow, so much gold there. Like people want to be better at entertaining people. What actions are you taking in your daily life to improve that skill? And you just gave some really practical things that people can go up on Google and look up improv class near me,
Yeah.
acting class near me, so that you can stretch outside your comfort zone so you can show up powerfully online. And one of my biggest takeaways from that is you talked about insecurity and self doubt and breaking through that. And I think that's one of the biggest things that holds people back. And the reason why I love empowering people on how to leverage social media for greatness is because it can be used as a powerful tool. But the biggest thing that I feel people really need to break through is this layer and this like fog of like imposter syndrome and insecurity and self-doubt and this like cringe feeling. They're like, oh, I don't want to say that. What if haters think this or say this? Or oh, what if they comment section on this? Or oh, what if I come off as cringe? And that's one thing that I feel when you're presenting. I can feel that you do not care. You
Yeah.
are like, I am Brent. I am showing up. This is who I am, and I am here for it. And people that are with me are going to resonate. And it's like this fearlessness that I feel when I watch your videos. How do you do that? Or what's the mindset that you have? Or what's that mindset shift you had to have to come off as confident in your videos?
Yeah. Well, when you put stuff online, you're not only you're expressing yourself to the world. So you're opening yourself up to anything and everything, right? And that's gonna draw in negativity. It just will. So over time, I think I've just kind of built up this sense of like If somebody says something mean or negative, it I see that as a boost for the algorithm because it's another comment, it's more engagement. So I'm like, thank you, dope, thank you for speaking this here, because you're just telling the algorithm that more people are watching the video and now it's going to show it to more people, and it works against the negative person. I have never once met anyone in real life who has had a negative thing to say about me or my stuff. It's only online. It's only behind the anonymity of a keyboard that people will talk shit. And that like oh, I've just kind of come to the realization that those people are not, I'm not trying to change anyone's mind. I don't need, I used to be, when I first started, I used to be of the mindset that I needed everyone to like me and I wanted to be a people pleaser. I never did anything political. I never did anything off color or taboo. Now, I don't give a fuck. I'll do anything. Political, everybody's an open target. I mocked Kamala Harris during the election because I thought she was terrible. I mocked Donald Trump recently because I thought he was an idiot. Like I don't really have any loyalties or biases toward any particular person or ideology. And that's drawn in a lot of negativity. It's drawn in negativity of one side thinking I'm only for the other side, but then that side thinking I'm only for the other side. It's drawn in negativity from people who think I'm just a middle ground guy who has no opinions. And all of those people are wrong, all of them. Um, so, if anybody resonates with that in particular, it if you choose a side these days, you're gonna get a ton of hate, you're gonna get a lot of love. If you don't choose a side and you go back and forth between making fun of both sides, you're gonna get a lot of hate, you're gonna get a lot of love. I don't know that there's anyone who just gets a lot of love, besides maybe Keanu Reeves, Jackie Chan, uh, Samuel L. Jackson. You know what I mean? Like, if you're making content on the internet, you just got to know that getting negative comments, negative feedback is par for the course. And be grateful. Be grateful. Don't see it as negativity. See it as more engagement, because it is. And that one person who said something mean, they're probably never going to see your stuff again. And also, the block feature is fantastic. So if you really want to just create an echo chamber of positivity, which is totally fine, block motherfuckers that are saying mean shit because you don't need that in your life. I usually say thank you for keeping me humble. I'd say that to people who say like mean stuff.
Yeah.
Or if somebody says a mean comment, I'll just be like, hey, can you please comment again for the algorithm? And it's like you just got to be above it. That's my opinion. I try to stay above it instead of engaging and bickering, because at the end of the day, all these people leaving mean comments are going to die just like you. We're all going to be forgotten, and then we're going to come back in a different form. And for now, focus on the positivity, not weird negative bullies online.
Yes, yes, preach. I love that because it's truly one of the biggest fears that holds people back from creating is fear of backlash and fear of this cancel culture. And so to approach it with that mindset really removes that fear and allows you to show up unapologetically yourself. And the other thing that really resonated with me is you talked about creating polarizing content. Like if you're not creating content that people like, if you create content that people love, you are going to have the other side of the spectrum because not
Yeah,
everyone's going to agree with you. You
yeah.
can be talking about the most amazing thing in the world and you will have a polar opposite. But if you do not create content that elicits an emotion, then your content's going to be lukewarm and boring. And
Yeah.
so, do you feel that creating polarizing content is important to reach people? Or do you feel like content has to elicit an emotion in somebody, or it's just regular content that people
I
will
think the
scroll
most
past?
important the most important thing to me is that whatever somebody is making is true to themselves, is what they want to say, not what they think other people want to hear, not what they think other people want to say but can't, not what they think will elicit a reaction, but is true to the creator. I don't have a filter anymore when I make stuff. I don't care who it is. I'll mock anybody, whether it's JD Vance, AOC, Hillary Clinton, Bill Gates, you know, trying to think of other people, Andrew Huberman, you know, anybody, Joe Rogan, Gavin Newsom, Eminem. I've mocked all of these people like hardcore. Um, and I don't care if somebody doesn't like it because I like it. I like it so much. I've had so I had it's so much so fun to me to do. And so I don't think it's necessary to make polarizing stuff. I do think that it is important to not allow the potential perception of others to have an impact on what you're creating before you create it. So if you're like, "Oh, I have this idea, but I feel like some people won't like it." Well, who gives a fuck? Will some people like it?
Yes.
Do you like it? Then make it.
Yes.
Then it's got to go into the world. Can it have a positive impact on some people? And of course that changes if the idea is like just blatantly offensive or tasteless or, shock value, and all of that is subjective, and it's up to the creator to make that, to gauge that. There's nobody who's the ultimate barometer and tester of what is offensive or not. That's up to the creator. And again, that has to be true to you. Like I did a video. um I'll use the Kamala one because that's probably the easiest one. So Kamala was getting a lot of heat on the campaign trail for speaking in word salads, right? For just talking and run-on sentences. And the disclaimer here is I don't care what anybody's politics are. Again, my style is making fun of anybody. So in this particular instance, I did a video called Kamala's Word Salads, and it was a fake commercial for a to-go salad called Kamala's Word Salads. And it was like a silly, fun, minute long video. Got a lot of hate from people who followed me that thought any anti-Kamala messaging means you are in favor of the opposition. So I immediately got called like MAGA, Trump guy, whatever. But I didn't care because I know I'm not that. I know that. And I don't need these people to know that. I don't care. And I knew also that one video is not going to affect my like brand identity. Videos are a million a day across the internet, and you forget about them 48 hours later or less. So I knew that even though it was probably like 60% loved the video, 40% really did not, that 40% of people that saw that video, probably in the tens of thousands, that's not going to have an impact on my career long term because the video was silly and funny. It wasn't racist, it wasn't, sexist, it wasn't anything like that. And then I did the same thing for in a Trump video like a month later. So, you know, I didn't let the the thought of how people would receive the video negatively affect whether or not I did the video. And I'm glad I didn't let that affect me because I don't want to have anybody else's potential thoughts affect my creativity. And that's also how you learn too. I learned a lot about my audience. I learned uh, about, I think that's the best example of when talking about polarizing content and making content. It's not a necessity, but I do think it's important to maintain integrity with yourself and not create or choose not to create based on the potential reaction from other people.
Wow. Like, I love to reflect after podcasts and be like, what was my biggest takeaway? Like, how can I'm so blessed to interview some of the most inspiring, insightful, interesting, funny, dynamic people in North America. And I take a moment and really embody what was the message that I want to take from this, that I want to apply in my life. I don't want to just go through the questions and go through the motions
Yeah.
and bang on a podcast. I'm like, how can this really help me level up and transform my life? And One of my favorite takeaways from this podcast, and you really articulated it, was you just can't care about other people and the algorithm and this and that and all these metrics of us trying to shapeshift ourselves into being. And you just have to show up unapologetically you. You got to show up unapologetically you and create from your heart. Get excited
Yeah.
about this content. Don't look at it like it's a chore. Do it because you genuinely love it and find the content that lights your soul on fire. Because if it lights you up, it will light up your audience. And so I love that. And you also talked about one of the other things I've noticed is you're taking things that are happening in society, like microplastics. Brent, come on. The amount of conversations I have about microplastics, probably not going to admit how often that conversation comes up.
Yeah, yeah,
The politicians, what's going on with them is something that is trending. And so, one of the things I'm noticing is you're taking things in the world that people are talking about and you're putting your own spin on it. And I think that is so smart. And that is so intuitive to be able to find things that are already out there that you have a say on. And yeah, just the other thing I really liked was you were like, oh, this one video, it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect me as a brand. And that really boils back to and ties back to this unapologetic creator. And that is, I hope, one of the biggest takeaways from people listening to this episode is if you want to grow your business online because you are a heart-centered entrepreneur that wants to use social media to impact and to make the world a better place, whether that be through joy or your product or your service, it's you have to be unapologetic
yeah,
about your creating. And so, what are your thoughts on that?
yeah. Being unapologetic is really just creating that's the same as creating from the heart. I think it's making something because you feel it needs to go into the world, and um regardless of what people think about it. You look at some of the greatest artists were so unapologetic that they got arrested, right? Like dating back to the Renaissance. People um who were innovative and did innovative that created innovative art. They got a lot of shit for it, but they kept going because they believed that it was a needed part of the world. And yeah, so being unapologetic is just like, for me, it's um not not falling victim to the leading, narratives about what should or shouldn't be talked about. You watch some of the alien videos and we're talking about topics that um, people don't discuss a lot, conspiracies or toxins in the food, and not really caring that some people might think it's a little weird or whatever, and just sticking true to kind of our sensibilities as creators.
Yes, I love that. And it's just so powerful. My biggest takeaway was go get arrested. Like I'm here for it. Like be so passionate about your craft, you go out and get arrested. No, just kidding. Um,
Yeah.
but what is the message that you want to share with the world? Like if there was one thing that you knew that you could breathe into the hearts and souls and minds of every person that you came across, what would that be?
Relax. Just
Yes.
chill out, dude. People are so tight these days. It's crazy. I think there's a lot of good reason to be on edge, but not this on edge. I feel like people need to meditate, put their feet on the ground. I think just there's too much anxiety, there's too much stress, there's too much trauma. People need to relax a little bit. So The way I try to infuse that into my work is to take aim at these different cultural structures that we take really, really seriously: politics, health and wellness, spirituality, um, celebrity. And by taking aim at those things and mocking them a little bit, poking fun at them, flipping them on their head, and I'm I feel like I'm able to kind of help people ease their perspective toward different cultural things like that. Because at the end of the day, life's too short to be stressed out all the time. So, yeah, the main message, if I had one word to put on a billboard everywhere, it would be relax. And
I
I hope
love
I can
that.
help people do that.
I love that. And I love this podcast. I love really opening up the intricacies of how you work and really peeling back the curtain on what drives you. And it's just one of my biggest takeaways is how passionate you are about the right things, about creating joy in people's lives and creating content that you are proud of and really putting your heart and soul into this craft that is allowing you to be creative and make people laugh and show up for people. And I think that is so, so, so important. And that's my passion is helping creators build and grow and monetize and show up because I believe everybody has a voice and everybody was put on earth. And whether you believe in God or whatever you believe in, you were put on earth to do something substantial and to make your life worth living and make your life fulfilled. And how you fulfill your life is by filling your life with things that light your soul on fire. And I just love your dedication and your mindset towards the craft of
Totally.
entertaining content. And it really shows that you gotta be invested. You gotta be invested, your heart, your mind, your soul, your interest in what you're putting out there in the world. And so I absolutely love that about you. And as we start to wrap up, what do you think is something that each person should know or focus on when they are passionate about leaving a legacy or creating joy in people's lives? What would that be?
Yeah, for me, I try not to focus on the end result because I know the end result will come at the end. And I'm not at the end yet. I'm in the present moment. So I try to really be present with what I'm doing today, right now, in this hour, in this minute, in this very second. What am I doing right now that is adding momentum to the mission? The mission being, put joy into the world in various ways and expand awareness and consciousness toward different things through the vehicle of comedy, right? That's for me personally. Um, and so when I focus on an end result, I get stressed out and anxious because the path is rocky and it's not totally clear and the end is far away. And that freaks me out. And then I can't create from a place of authenticity because I'm creating from a place of like, okay, how do I get millions of dollars, millions of followers, blah, blah, blah. But when I focus on the now and the exact present moment, I can like more clearly see what I need to be doing in the moment that can fuel
Mm,
that trajectory to get to the end result. Um, so being more present, present with yourself, with your work. And I also remind myself that like no one really has it figured out. I have friends that have millions of followers doing world tours that still are not getting certain things that they want to get, and it stresses them out, or they're still not in a place that they want to be, and it stresses them out. I am not in a place that I want to be, and it stresses me out all the time. And it's important to remember, I think, for other creators and people in the entertainment space and independent minded folks to remember that like everybody's struggling with this shit. Everybody's having a tough time. Everybody's battling something, even if you can't see it on social media or you can't see it on their face when you see them in person, like the inner struggles are nonstop. And as long as you are creating enough space to find joy that outweighs those struggles, then you're on the right track. And it might take a while. Might take a while. but that's where consistency comes in for me.
I love that. What a beautiful note to close on. And
Cool.
this has been such an amazing podcast. I'm so grateful for your time. And it is so cool to see a different side of you. I always see this like
Yeah, I'm not blue today,
side
so
on
it's different.
social
Yeah.
media, and it's so cool to see really the heart and soul behind the brand. So this has been so cool. I'm so appreciative for
Thank you,
you
Brittany.
and your time and just what you've created and the level of mastery and effort and time that you really put into your craft. So thank you so much, Brent. How can people follow you? Do you have any upcoming shows? Like, what can people do to get involved with all the greatness that you're creating in the world?
Totally. It's just at Brent Pella on Instagram. That's the best spot. Brent Pella on YouTube, Brent Pella Comedy on Facebook. I just got off a pretty long tour, so I'm taking a break from travel for a bit, but then I'll be back on the road this fall. And to get notified of my tour dates and when I'm coming to your city, brentpella.com. You can sign up for the newsletter. Once a month, we'll send updates on projects and tour date announcements and things like that. And I got a lot of fun stuff coming up in the next like 1 to 2 years. So definitely sign up for the mailing list, anybody that wants to follow along.
Yay! I love it. Well, thank you so much. I'm so
Cool.
excited to launch this episode. It's been so insightful for me, and I know it's going to help so many people. So, thank you so much, Brent. I'm so excited to watch all your videos. Send me the salad video.
Oh,
It
yeah.
sounds
Okay.
really funny, and I missed it, but I'm so
Cool.
grateful for you, and we'll see you in Austin soon.
I appreciate you, Brittany. Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. Can't wait to see you again.
Bye.
Yeah.